Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me for another Break for 8 for Dementia Care Partners. Today we're talking about S, as in the letter S, and that is the third step of the mastering dementia process. So the S stands for, not probably too surprising, support. Often the focus of dementia is placed on the person who's received the diagnosis. And, rightly so to a large extent, but we all know how important supporting the care partner is. And even though we know this, so often we place care partner support, finding support for ourselves, on the back burner. So by support, I mean all the things that externally build you up, because, providing constant support to another person without recognizing the need for it yourself, it's a recipe for burnout, really, right? Just physical, emotional exhaustion. So I'll tell you a little story. About a year ago, one of my close family members was diagnosed with vascular dementia, and I'm eternally grateful to the neurologist that they were working with, because he looked right at the primary care partner and said, you're going to need help. And that was one of the main messages that was conveyed during this initial meeting. You're going to need help. And fortunately, she took that direction to heart and started putting some things in place, began actively changing some of the things up in their lives just to add more support, even more support than she may have initially needed at the time. And also, I think receiving that guidance and validation from the doctor that things were going to change and get difficult really gave her a sense of permission to not have to feel like she had to handle this on her own, because she was the spouse and this was her duty. Because dementia is not a one-person job. I'm going to say that again. Dementia is not a one-person job. And I know you've heard this, and we've all heard this, but so often we don't put this at the top of our to-do list. It's for a variety of reasons, right? Maybe things like, things really weren't that bad. We were clicking along okay until suddenly they weren't, because dementia has a kind of a sneaky way of creeping up on us, right? Like just needing help with more and more things until suddenly, as care partners, we're overwhelmed. Or maybe within ourselves we have some assumptions that are roadblocking us. Like maybe we assume no one is available or no one's willing to help. You have a whole video on assumptions and how they can get in our way. So you can tune into that if you want. Or maybe probably what's most likely happening is that it's hard to find time to find help, or it's hard to know where to look in the first place. So today I'd like to give you some tips on where to find help. So first of all, and I'm going to be serious about this, please put this at the very, very top of your to-do list, because I'm going to remind you that without a healthy you around, who is going to hold all of this together? Who's going to take care of your person in the household, right? So if you're not thinking about yourself, at least maybe thinking about everything else is a motivator. So it's essential that you receive support, because the job of dementia care is extremely difficult and draining. So one suggestion is to do a little assignment, and I'm saying assignment in a very loose way, I promise. It's not going to take a lot of time. But one of the ideas is to start a list this week. Just start a list, throw a piece of paper on the counter and add to it as you go along. Just start a list of all the things you do to support your person. I think you're, first of all, going to be amazed at how long that list is. But start this list and add to it as you go along throughout the day. And then at the end of the week, go back, look at that list, and determine what you need to do. What you need to do for your person and for the household, and what could be delegated to someone else. And don't put conditions on it, like I can't afford it, or I don't have anyone, or I don't know who to ask. Just who could do something that you are currently doing. So just kind of put a check by that. Secondly, all those people who are asking you, what can I do to help, right? And I know sometimes it's hard to even think of an answer, or maybe our natural response is, oh, everything's fine, right? Start generating a second list and be creative. It could be asking people or suggesting that they organize a meal delivery schedule for all of your other friends, right? Maybe just a couple times a week. You don't need food every day, maybe. Could be other things like mowing the lawn, taking your car to get the oil changed. Just write down all the stuff that sucks up your time that you could delegate to someone else. Or maybe it's just stopping over with coffee and for a chat so you don't feel so isolated, right? Because a lot of times people see friends kind of leave the picture, mainly because they're uncomfortable, maybe, or maybe they don't know what to do to help you, right? Third thing, reach out to organizations in your community that basically help people find help. And most, all states have an area agency on aging and have multiple. So organizations like this, Area Agency on Aging, or AAA. And they help people find people to help them find services, if that makes any sense. So again, I'll reference this in the comment section for you, along with some links and phone numbers. But they can be very helpful in getting you pointed in the right direction, interviewing you for what you need, or maybe even talking through services that you may not even know exist, right? Other group, of course, is the Alzheimer's Association Helpline. They're a good source of general information, education, and they also can connect you with local support. Another potentially great source of information is your local senior center. Your place of worship may participate in something called the Parish Nursing Network. So there's a resource for you there, or maybe it's just the social worker at your doctor's office that can have good information and resources to share with you. So even if they can't provide the service themselves, they're likely to know who can and can provide some contact information for you. I also wanted to make you aware of a group of professionals called geriatric care managers, or actually I think they're called life care professionals now or something like that. But they are social workers or nurses that have a medical background, and they specialize in just helping people navigate a new diagnosis or the healthcare system. You can find a geriatric care manager at aginglife.com. Again, I'll list this in the comment section. They're just a wealth of information for local resources. They know who does good work in your community, and they're not beholden to some sort of contract they may have with an agency or like a assisted living community. So finally, I wanted to make you aware of, and I don't want to scare you, just some crisis hotlines that are available for people to call when life is boiling over, when you're at your wit's end. So again, the Alzheimer's Association 24-hour helpline is available for any kind of crisis. The other thing is, again, I don't want to scare you, but it's the suicide and crisis help hotline. And they have trained counselors on duty 24 hours a day that are available to listen and to help you. And you do not have to be suicidal to call. You just need to be in need. And that number is 988 that you can call or text, and I'll put it in the comment section for you. I thought I was done, but one more thing. Can't stress enough how valuable I think support groups are. And even if you're not a support group person, there honestly is nothing like spending some time talking with others who understand exactly what you're going through. And those others may have excellent resource information for you, what's worked for them in the past, whether it's a certain home health agency or a different strategy that they've tried and had success with. Support groups are great for all forms of dementia, but especially I think for those less common forms like FTD or Lewy body or posterior cortical atrophy or a primary progressive aphasia. Those diagnoses can have some pretty unique symptoms that sometimes don't generalize to like a general Alzheimer's support group. So if you can't get out of the house, or you don't have a specialty group in your area, there's a ton of groups available online. So now it is time to relax. Just to take a breath as our meditation begins. So get comfortable. Just stop thinking for a moment. Pull your attention back to this moment, right here, right now. Settle back. Take a few breaths to clear your mind. A clear mind is a gift that you can give yourself. It's a way to support yourself, especially when it feels like no one understands and there's no one else around. Your breath is here to support you. Your body is also here to support you, and we in this group, we're all here to support you and one another. We understand the weariness, the sadness. We understand the conflicting emotions of frustration and compassion. So just allow yourself this moment. You deserve it. You deserve it because caring for a person living with dementia may quite literally be the hardest thing you do in life. So just breathe in and breathe out. Let go of some of the weight you're carrying on your shoulders. As you breathe in strength. As you breathe out, let go of some of that weight. Breathe in energy. Breathe out, letting go of the desire to control everything. Breathe in relaxation. Breathe out tension. Breathe in love. Breathe out criticism. Breathe in wellness. Breathe out pressure. Breathe in support and understanding from this group. Breathe out aloneness. Breathe in permission to receive help. Breathe out guilt. Dementia may sometimes feel like a train that you got on by mistake and you can't get off. When we allow others to ride with us, the journey can be a little less bumpy. You have a hard job that you never asked for. So please create space within you to allow in more support into your life. If any emotions are coming up, just allow them to enter your body with your inhale and exits your body with your exhale. In doing so, you become aware of them, along with the process of releasing their holds. So let's just continue to breathe in and breathe out, calming your mind, calming your nervous system, so we can approach this day from a place of more peace. So I pray for peace for you today and offer my support in this way.